Live 95.1 presents Youth on the Rise. Youth on the Rise. A radio show by the youth for the youth. Join your hosts, Choisuel and Tanya Elias, as we shed light on pertinent topics at the cornerstone of our lives and our nation. Tune in to hear our guests every Monday night from 8 to 9 p.m. as we impart knowledge and guidance to our listeners. Don't forget, every Monday night from 8 to 9 p.m. on Live 95.1 FM. Youth on the Rise. Good evening, listeners from Choisuel, St.Lucia on online. Welcome to Youth on the Rise. I am your host, Choisuel, and with me, my co-host, Tanya Elias.
Good evening, listeners. I am Tanya Elias, the co-host of the show. I welcome each and every one of you to this show.
And this evening, we have two special guests in here. We have the president of the newly elected president of the ChoiseulYouth and Sports Council, and also we have members of the executive of the Mongouge Development Committee in studio.
Again, we are very happy to introduce you to our new president, the new president of the ChoiseulYouth and Sports Council. Ms. Gaia, welcome to Youth on the Rise.
Thank you. Good evening.
Okay, I know the listeners out there would like to know who really is Ms. Gaia. Ms. Gaia, can you tell Choiseulians and Lucians about yourself? Who are you?
Okay, in a nutshell, I am Jenny Gaia. I come from the community of David and Choisel, and I am a teacher by profession and a community activist.
I know that you've been actively involved in community activities. Can you tell us some of the activities that you've been involved in?
Okay, by virtue of the fact that I serve on a few committees, I am naturally involved in the community. I serve on the Choisuel Emergency Preparedness Organization, which is CIPO, the organization responsible for disaster management in Choisel. I'm also a guider, a national guider, and I'm involved with the ChoiseulYouth and Sports Council.
Okay, you have heard from our president. She's very, very active in the community. So, Ms. Gaia, I know that last week, Wednesday, a new executive was elected. Can you tell us about the new executive, the members of the new executive?
Sure. Last week, Wednesday, we selected 7 persons to conduct and to manage the affairs of the ChoiseulYouth and Sports Council, in the persons of Jenny Gaia, myself, serving as president. We have also Ms. Kina Nicholas in the position of Vice President. Secretary, Ms. Tanya Elias, who is the co-host of the show. We do not yet have an Assistant Secretary, so that post is available. I think Craig is interested. Serving in the position of Treasurer, we have Mr. Bradley Daisy, who works with the Choisel Cooperative Credit Union, and his assistant is Ms.Anika, who also works at the same institution. We have a very capable PRO, Mr. Nayas Alfred.
Okay, listeners, you have heard the members of the executive of the ChoiseulYouth and Sports Council. Congratulations to all members.
Thank you.
Now, Ms. Gaia, correct me if I mispronounce the last name.
That is okay. You can call me Jenny.
Ms. Jenny, okay? Forgive me, listeners. Tell our listeners about what a community council is, okay, and why should the public be concerned. Why should they care?
Okay, these are two very important questions. The Youth and Sports Council is a youth-led organization, in this case, which is a bit mandated by the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports to meet the needs of youth in various districts. I say so to say that when persons hear youth and sports, they focus mainly on sports, and you have an imbalance. But the youth aspect needs as much attention as sports. In the past, sports programs have received perhaps too much attention at the deficit of the youth programs. Let me add quickly that youth is a very broad and interesting topic. And when we think of youth, we have to think of all those things that impact youth. Youth are impacted by the environment, by agriculture, by tourism, by global warming. So even though we say youth and sports, we are talking about, in essence, about everything that impacts youth, not just sports. Yes, youth can use sports as an avenue, but it just doesn't stop there. Your second question was, why should the public be concerned? The public should be concerned because we are talking about youth. Okay, youth are citizens and they do have a voice. And I know that there is a disconnect between the youth and adults. There are many factors that contribute to that. But youth have a voice and they should be given an opportunity to make a contribution to society. So that is why the public should be concerned.
Okay, Ms. Newly elected President. What are the objectives of the Choiseul Youth and Sports Council?
Okay, we have several objectives, and when you listen to them, you will understand that the objectives speak to the holistic approach to youth, not just sports. So I will read a few very quickly. One of the most important objectives is to develop and implement appropriate and diverse sporting programs for sports enthusiasts. We're looking at male, female, and youth, and through that we would be promoting discipline, sportsmanship, camaraderie, and teamwork. Another important objective is to develop and implement interesting youth programs. It is our objective to invite resource persons to educate the youth on social, economic, cultural, and religious matters. Another objective is to collaborate with established groups of similar nature for the exchange of information and undertake large-scale projects that benefit youth. Also, it is our objective to promote positive environmental influence and conservation through education, encouragement, and assistance for youth.
You highlighted that one of the main objectives of the Youth and Sports Council is to develop discipline. Why is that so important for the Youth and Sports Council?
I think youth have a very negative and destructive outlook, or persons see them that way, mainly because youth are not understood. Persons don't take the time to understand youth, their culture, their desires, their passions, what turns them on, what ticks them off. And very often the traditional definition for discipline is for you to be able to listen to listen to adults, do what they say without questioning it. But youth have realized that it is okay to be a bit rebellious. Okay? A lot of things have been achieved through rebellion, once it is not too destructive. So for youth now, discipline has a new meaning. Not that the traditional tenets of discipline are not important, but youth have realized that they have a voice, they have a power, and they're going to do what is necessary to make that voice be heard. And sometimes they come across as being not disciplined.
I like the fact that you're saying that the youth, their voices have to be heard. This is actually what Youth on the Rise is about.
Yes.
Giving them opportunities so that people can know what is happening with them. So I'm really happy that you are saying this right now. I know that you served on the past executive, and what really is the vision of the Youth and Sports Council?
Okay, the vision of the Youth and Sports Council is to more or less create a world where the creativity and the talent of youth in Choiseul will be recognized not just on the international stage, but on the local and the regional level. I hasten to add that persons like Mabik Edgar, who have gone on to represent themselves proudly, regionally, and now doing so internationally, I can safely say that this vision encompasses Mabik Edgar and a number of other young persons like Audie Alexander and Jason Simons and countless other young Choiseulians who are doing well for themselves.
Again, we keep on hearing young persons who are excelling in sports. Can you highlight some of the young persons? I know last year you served on the Youth and Sports Council, young persons who are excelling in other areas. I know we had debates and...
Right. I don't want to focus too much on sports. There are young persons in Choiseul who have gone on to make very good contributions to the academic field. Cricket. I want to speak to cricket because Choiseul, I think I can safely say that Choiseul is the cricketing capital of St. Lucia. Because our cricket is well organized and well executed. We have a very solid and determined and disciplined team that is behind that. We have some of our cricketers like Arthur Eugene, Valage, Setage, among others, who are making strides in that field. In terms of academics, we have had persons at CXC, at common entrance levels, who have given a very good account of themselves. And I could go on and talk about culture and youth in poetry. For example,
our businessmen, we have
Richard Lafay, right, Stephen Dantes. Okay, so Choisuel there is not a lack of young talent in Choisuel.
Okay. Now, tell me about the challenges the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council have to face.
Okay, every organization faces challenges, and without challenges, there will be no growth. And the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council, we welcome challenges because they show us the path for improvement. One of the major challenges that we face is the lack of club structure in Choisuel. You would hear persons mention teams from CAFE, from DIGA, from all over Choisuel. But when it comes to having a proper structured club, where you have an executive, you have the members, you have their skill set and all of that, that is lacking. So that being one of our challenges automatically becomes one of our goals or objectives of this new executive. In addition to that, it pains me to say that youth volunteerism seems to have died a slow and rather painful death. I know that Choisuel has a lot of young persons, and the persons do not want to volunteer because they are not being compensated. And while I understand that the economic situation may contribute to that, it just shows us that perhaps some of our traditional morals and values have died along with that. So these are two of our major challenges. The third one is securing financing for projects. These days you have to be very creative, and you have to be aggressive as well in securing financing for projects. That is why networking is very, very important. And we are trying our very best to put ourselves in strategic locations to partner with persons, organizations that can help us reach our goals.
We have heard about your challenges, of course. I know that sponsorship is a very, very serious challenge, not only for the Youth and Sports Council, but for clubs, all clubs in Choisuel, and I think St.Lucia as a whole. But what about achievements? What really are the achievements of the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council? As I said, I know you served on the past executive, so you have some knowledge on that.
Okay, if I were to say that our achievements are too numerous to mention, persons would probably laugh, because we have faced our fair share of criticism. Notwithstanding, I want to highlight first of all our support or the success story of the cricket committee, football in St. Lucia. St. Lucia and Choisuel and St. Lucia, sorry. The last executive perhaps was a bit unorthodox in the sense that we undertook a road safety project, and most persons don't associate that road safety project with youth. They ask the question, what does youth have to do with road safety? Okay, why should the youth not have anything to do with road safety? Okay, so we hail that as a success because the way the project was implemented, we were able to go into the schools and to speak very candidly with young persons, students, and we were also able to speak with the minibus drivers, and the reaction from them was very, very promising. I also wish to highlight the establishment of a student council both at DPI and Choisuel secondary schools, and our aim was to not only establish these councils, but to maintain and strengthen the structure, because like I said, youth have a voice. Furthermore, we hosted our youth awards, which was very well received. We were very happy to award and recognize the hard work of many young Choiselians. Another success was capacity building in the form of workshops. Sometimes when you call clubs to workshops, they do not attend readily, but there is a lot to learn from that as it relates to youth structure and youth empowerment. Furthermore, I want to highlight that the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council provided financial support to clubs. because we are the umbrella organization for youth clubs in Choisuel. HIV and AIDS, which has not been forgotten. It received some attention through the Mr. and Mrs. HIV/AIDS, which was put on at the Choisuel Secondary School. Also, we participated in Camp Kalinago, which was supposed to be, or which was an educational camp in which Mr. Sylvester Choisuel, who's the now permanent secretary in the Ministry of Energy, he came down and he actually gave a very interesting talk on that aspect of our history. Choisuel has many talented youth, and they were able to make their voices be heard at Youth Parliament in the person of Miss Leanne Edgar, who was very articulate. So these are just some of our achievements, and I don't think the list is going to stop there.
Okay. Now, listeners, you heard quite a few things that the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council have done. Now, Ms. Jenny, let's go back to the schools. Now, it is known that the students' councils in schools not normally as vibrant as they should be. What does the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council plan to do to help revive that?
Okay, we are happy that we already have a structure in place. I teach at the PI Secondary School, so I can speak intimately to what goes on there. The Students' Council at the PI Secondary School is actually very vibrant. It's very visible. And I dare say that the Students' Council is as strong as the person who, as the adult leader who works directly with them. I think too that young people, of course, they need the guidance, and it is our responsibility to channel them in the right directions by providing capacity building workshops. They need to learn how to function as a team. They need to learn how to advocate for young people. They need to learn. They need to have a sense of awareness. They need to know how to get what they want without being overly rude or inciting violence, that kind of thing. So this is our plan for the Students' Council.
As you said, and I agree with you, the achievement of the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council is really too numerous to mention. And I know some listeners out there, the clubs out there, they're very excited to hear that. How does one become affiliated with the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council?
Okay, the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council, like I said, is an organization that is mandated by the Ministry of Youth and Sports Council. The Choisuel Youth and Sports Council accepts interest from anybody. You don't necessarily have to be affiliated with a club to make a contribution to the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council. If you are a young professional, you have something that you would like to share, you have a skill that you would like to pass on, knowledge that you would like to pass on, you are welcome to serve. You can contact any member of the new executive, and we would be more than happy to accommodate you.
Do you have a Facebook page?
Yes, we do have a Facebook page, Choisuel Youth and Sports Council. You just log in, and then you can see some of the great things that we have.
What about an email address that you of the clubs can maybe use to contact you to get some relevant information?
In the meantime, persons who wish to contact the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council can email me. We are in the process of setting up an email account for that purpose. But if your need is desperate, you can email vershel_27@hotmail.com. Again, that is vershel_27@hotmail.com. You can reach me at 486-0829, 486-0829, or 455-1307. At this point, I wish to share a bit of information. The Ministry of Youth and Sports Development has made it very clear that community clubs must be registered with the Youth and Sports Council in order to be recognized. And so I want to appeal to all clubs in Choisuel. I know we have more teams than clubs, but the goal is to have all teams turn into clubs. You must be registered with the Choisuel Youth and Sports Council if you are going to be recognized by the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports. So I implore you to get that going.
Okay, very well said, Ms. Jenny. Now, listeners, this evening, remember we said that we don't have one guest, we have two of them. So tonight is a very special night. And also, with me, I have Ms.Anika, and she is the president of the Mongouge Development Committee. Let me give you a few seconds to settle in. So, Anika, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Hayel.
Now,
Good evening, Anika. Welcome to the show, Youth on the Rise.
Good evening, listeners.
now tell the nation about Mongouge Development Committee.
The Mongouge Development Committee, newly elected last year March, consists of myself, Anika Jean, President, Vice President, Valson James, Secretary Leander Pearl Peter, Assistant Secretary Ms. Maveline Joseph, our Treasurer Alina Butcher, Assistant Treasurer Mr. Romulus, Mr. Elo, PRO Alpha Eugene. We also have floor members Christopher Peter, Hildra Plant, Mr. Craig Hadel.
Yes. Now, what responsibilities or tasks does the Mongouge Development Committee take up?
The Mongouge Development Committee is aimed at building community capacity towards resilience, to encourage the preservation of popularized local culture, bringing youth together, bringing communities together. It's named the Mongouge Development Committee, but we cover Mongouge, Monsieur, Fayette, Ravino, Lewish, Mate. Although the name says Mongouge, but then we try to encourage people to understand that it's not just Mongouge. It's the communities around Mongouge.
Now, tell us about this big event everybody in Choisuel is talking about on the 15th of this month.
Oh yes, the Mongouge, Monsieur, Lewish, Mate annual road relay, scheduled for the 15th of this month, which is Sunday.
This coming Sunday, people.
This coming Sunday. We're encouraging all teams to register. It's not too late. A team consists of seven members. The route is from the Mongouge Court. We come up to Mongouge, down through Monsieur, down through Choisuel Village, up the police station, through Dakite, Victoria, and back to the court. After the road relay, we have other sporting activities such as cricket, small goal football, dancing competition, and live performances by our local artists.
How does a team register to take part in these activities?
Registration forms can be collected from any of our committee members. Registration is $5 per person.
Very important.
Yeah.
Now, we've spoken about how teams can register. But what about teams from outside of Choisuel? We have listeners outside of Choisuel. Are they invited?
Oh, sure, yes. We need competition. We need those athletes from out there to compete with our local athletes. So all teams are invited. From the north, south, wherever you're from, you're invited to participate with us.
So if a team hearing this, or someone hearing this from outside of Choisuel wants to register, and they don't know any of the members of the Mongouge Development Committee, can you give the listeners a number that they can contact so at least they would get in touch with somebody?
Sure. You can reach us at 584-4449, 519-6669, 720-0217, or we can be emailed at Mongouge, MONGOUGE 2014 @outlook.com.
How old or how young is the Mongouge Road Relay?
This year is our 4th year.
Okay, can you tell us how did the whole concept of an annual Mongouge Road Relay materialize?
First of all, credit must be given to Mr. Macafer Philip, our then Community Development Officer, along with Dr. Charles, Dr. Augustine Charles. A meeting was called among residents of Monsieur, Mongouge, and surroundings. And this was where the idea came about to bring, especially, I think there was, about that time, there was this rival between Monsieur and Mongouge, the guys, and we decided to put something together where the guys can, mingle and stop this rivalry among themselves. And I think it has worked. It is working.
So can anyone participate in that road relay, or is there an age limit?
No, okay, the past 3 years, we've had an under 13 group.
Yes.
With consent forms from parents. So we've had guys as young as...
Not to cut you off, but when you say under 13, does that mean schools, groups from schools can, say the primary schools, the younger ones can...
Sure. Like
register?
I said, the last 3 years we had under 13. This year we have it from under 16. Okay, because in the past it's costly because we don't really get many teams registering under 13.
Okay.
Sometimes on the day you only have one team as under 13. One registered team under 13. They don't get to compete with other teams their age.
What challenges does your organization face when it comes to planning this activity?
Funding, financial assistance. Donations, these days it's really difficult to get places to partner with you when it comes to this event. But we're trying, and we would like to thank those who continue to support us. For example, Super J, IGA, Choisuel Youth and Sports Council, Choisuel Cooperative Credit Union, Choisuel Constituency Council. We have the local supermarket, Save Mart, Kel Supermarket, Fontes. One of our biggest sponsors so far for the past 4 years has been the St.Lucia National Lotteries Authority. They've always been on board and looking forward to our proposal every year.
I know that the Mongouge Development Committee is not only about the annual road relay. Can you tell us some of the activities that you've participated in and you believe that they have actually been successes? I know the library, you were part of the CFL competition.
Okay, our biggest project thus far was the re-establishment of the Mongouge Library, sponsored by CFL. We had our volunteers from around the community and Super J come together to re-establish our library. Now we have a full functioning library.
Yes.
And we also looking forward to having our Super J IGA reading competition come May. We're looking at targeting males in particular because we have an issue with males when it comes to reading and writing. You find more girls reading. So our main target is males, especially the older ones.
Now, normally, sometimes people hear of groups existing and they don't seem to know that this group ever existed. So, can you tell for anyone who actually want to join the group or volunteer to assist in the activities, can you please tell them how they can do so or who they can contact?
Okay, the Mongouge Development Committee, the members on the committee has a lifespan of 2 years, 2 to 3 years. Okay, we can ask for people to assist us, but then at the end of our 2 years,
a general meeting is called, and persons from the community members, are the ones who elect the Mongouge Development Committee. So at the end of our 2-year period, the general meeting will be called, and you, persons from Mongouge, Monsieur, Fayette, Louis, and around, you are the ones who elect the members of the Mongouge Development Committee. But in regards to assistance, we would love to have more persons come on board to assist us, because it's not an easy task.
Okay. Now, listeners, you've heard from Ms.Anika and you've heard from Ms. Jenny. Now, our phone lines are open. Again, listeners, the number to call is 714-5574. Again, the number to call is 714-5574. You can also be reached on WhatsApp as well. Also, we are on live stream, so you could send us a message on the chat there. Okay. Now, tell me, Ms.Anika, one of the main challenges the club Mongouge Development Committee has faced during its tenure.
One of our main challenges thus far is support from the community. On many occasions we have called public meetings and we only get a handful, because we don't want to go out there and do things on our own. We want to involve the community. During our planning, we want to have them come together and assist us in planning. What do you want to see happen in Mongouge and the surrounding areas? And when we call those meetings, we advertise those meetings. You only find the same few people attending. And there's nothing much most times we have to go ahead with our own ideas. But we would like to involve everybody.
Do you ever collaborate with other groups? I know that is very important, especially I noticed earlier on Ms. Gaia mentioned the importance of networking. Do you ever work with other groups to achieve the goals of your organization?
We normally work with the Monsieur Youth and Sports Club, the Mongouge Youth and Sports Club. When you say other groups are, for example,
other clubs, for example, there is Ebony, we have Champion Crew, we have Atlas, we have all these other organizations. Do you ever maybe participate in their activities so that when I have my activities, they will be represented? Do you guys ever work with other groups to achieve your objectives?
We try to support other groups, but thus far we have not many activities have been taking place around. But any activity, for example, movie night and this, we try to support as many groups as we can.
Again, listeners, we have two very important guests here this evening. Ms. Jenny Gaia, President of the Youth and Sports Council. Ms.Anika, President of the Mongouge Development Committee. Again, we value our input. The number to call is 714-5574. 714-5574. Feel free to send us your WhatsApp messages, your text messages.
Now, what I find interesting is, especially in Choisuel, we have many groups. And one thing that for me is not done enough is that the groups don't collaborate enough with each other. We have many distinct groups. But in my mind, for me, I believe they should work together a lot more. They should, host certain activities in conjunction. Also, they should really work together in tackling certain problems. And we have the Mongouge Development Committee, and also we have the umbrella body, as Ms. Jenny said, ChoiseulYouth&SportsCouncil. And they should really, not specifying these two of course, they should really try to make sure that action gets taken a lot quicker on certain issues that we have, because sometimes you find certain problems taking very long to get solved, I don't want to get too specific, but sometimes we need to make sure that things get done a lot quicker and we avoid too much of this red tape. Do you have anything to say on that, Anika? Or Ms.Jenny? Go on.
Yes, Mr. Hardell, you are speaking to an age-old problem where persons in different groups perhaps do not feel the need to collaborate to achieve a common goal. Well, that would be the ideal, and perhaps that is why we have a lot of duplication, because different groups go to different organizations seeking funding for the very same activity. I think it has to do with the fact that groups, they want to feel that they are making their own personal contribution to the development of society, and perhaps it is a closed-minded approach to doing things, and which may result in a lot of issues. But the Choiseul Youth and Sports Council has made it. We have adopted the fact that we need to work with other organizations who share a similar goal and who can assist us in reaching our goals. So I'm agreeing with you 100% that especially in Choiseul, we really need to work in collaboration with each other and stop trying to outdo each other, thus resulting in a lot of duplication of activities. Because the very resources that we are using can be put to other use. This is just my personal opinion.
My question is directed at the Mongouge Development Committee. I know I can safely say, and I think I attended the meeting once and I highlighted the fact that Mongouge Development Committee seems to be one of the most organized club in Choiseul. And I know Ms. Gaia said that the Youth and Sport Council, we have a serious problem with club structure. What did you guys use? How did you guys get to be so structured? Maybe you could share your experiences with the listeners out there. You might have a president listening. Let's share your ideas with them.
Thank you, Tanya. The Mongouge Development Committee, we went through a series of workshops, training. We developed our constitution and we try our best to follow. We come together, we set our calendar of activities, host our annual meeting, and we have a set of dedicated youth.
I know I have been parts of clubs, teams, and they have constitution, they have dedicated youth, they have everything else. But after maybe 3 months, 4 months, it's like you cannot find the members. What is it that your organization has that actually causes that kind of cohesion within the group?
Tanya, I guess we just have a natural love for volunteerism. We enjoy volunteering. We have a goal. We want to see our youth together. This is one of our main goals. See our youth, especially the young guys from Monsieur, Mongouge, Ravino. We want to see them together, and most of what we're doing, I will say, for them, for those guys. So I will say a zeal for volunteerism.
Okay, so you guys are doing something, I really don't know what it is, but I think you should keep it up and share experiences with other clubs. I know that you have a field opposite the school. Is that field being used by the community members?
It's a
court. It's a court, I would say, very hazardous. Yes, the guys, they use it to train, to practice their cricket. Yeah, I would say it's being used. But if it was up to standard, we have metal here, there, everywhere. So then it's not a safe place, but they make use of it.
So do you believe that the facilities that you have is sufficient for the kind of impact that you want to bring about in the community?
Not at all. Not at all. We would love to have a playing field. We'd love to have an up-notch court, but we're making use of what we have. And we as a development committee, we're trying our utmost best to see what we can do. We cannot rely strictly on the government, so we're trying to raise funds to see how much we can do on our own.
Again, the spirit of volunteerism continues to be alive and well with the Mongouge Development Committee, and for that I need to commend you guys.
Thank you.
Again, listeners, our number to reach us or to make a contribution is 714-5574. Now, Ms. Jenny, how do you plan as a Youth and Sports Council to tackle the problem of juvenile delinquency?
Wow, that is a very loaded question, and I will attempt to shed some light on that. Juvenile delinquency, as it is traditionally understood, I think stems from the fact that young people, they lack a certain presence in their lives, and some of them turn to whatever it is that will fill that void, and sometimes, more often than not, it is something negative. The Choiseul Youth and Sports Council really cannot on its own address juvenile delinquency. Yes, we are aware as a youth organization that this problem exists. It is a youth problem, and we are a youth-oriented organization council. We advocate on behalf of youth, but this problem cannot be solely addressed by the Youth and Sports Council. What we can do and what we ought to do is to partner with the relevant organizations and to bring them in to see how best we can work together to target juvenile delinquents, whether it be the court or whatever necessary organization it is, and to see how best we can address that issue. But it is a very, very ticklish and challenging issue.
I like the fact that you believe so much in networking. Ms. Gaya, can you tell us what is the relationship between the Choiseul Youth and Sports Council and the National Youth Council?
A very interesting question, Ms. Elias. The National Youth Council, as the word national suggests, it is a national umbrella organization responsible for District Youth and Sports Council. On Saturday, I and myself and Kina Nicholas, we attended a General Council meeting in Castries. And we were reminded that the relationship between the National Youth Council and the District Youth and Sports Council is of utmost importance. And one of the weaknesses that was highlighted by the president was that there was this break in communication and there was that disconnect. Now, if the DYSs are going to operate on their own, and the National Youth Council, which is supposed to be the national umbrella organization, has no idea what we are doing, then we cannot safely say that we are working towards the development of youth. I know that DYSs have their issues. We in Choiseul, we have our own issues. And we do try our utmost best to maintain a very cordial, professional relationship with the National Youth Council because we respect the position that they play in the hierarchy of youth organizations in Choiseul. But to put it in a nutshell, we share a very good relationship with the National Youth and Sports Council. Sorry, the National Youth Council.
Interesting. Now, I know that the executive is new. I know that every single thing to be done is not in place yet.
Well, when you say new, I just want to add that we have a few old faces in quotation marks. Yes.
I mean, the executive is newly elected. Can you give the listeners a bit of clues as to what plans that you have? I know that everything may.
Okay, I am not in a position to speak to specific things, but I will do so within, a broad framework.
Yeah.
What has worked well for us in the past, quite apart from football and cricket, these are traditional sports that are well structured, and so they are always successful. And now with the introduction of the Football League, it adds a bit more structure to football in Choisuel. The Youth and Sports Council believes a lot in capacity building, because with youth, we notice that it is very important to empower them. And when I say empower them, I mean to give them the knowledge, the requisite knowledge that they need to change or impact positively on their lives and their situations. So one of the ways in which we can accomplish that is through capacity building, through a lot of workshops. We do not sit with ourselves and decide what we think the young people want, even though we are young ourselves. We make it our duty to go out there and meet with them and to find out from them what it is that they really need. Because oftentimes we think we know what other persons need. And when you speak to them, you realize, hey, but what I thought you needed, you don't need it at all. Okay, so this is one of our plans. Something else that we are going to pursue very aggressively is the club structure. And like I mentioned in my first segment, this has been one of the sore points of the Choiseul Youth and Sports Council, especially the last executive. We are going to meet with individual, community groups, and to actually sit with them and to help them decide on a plan of action. One way in which we fail our young people, or we allow them to fail, is by providing no kind of guidance. We expect them to know how to run a club, but sometimes they don't. So we step in there, we give them the necessary guidance, and we make ourselves available, visible, and we sit and we speak with them, and we decide on a plan of action. It's going to take time, but we believe that we need to invest in developing club structures in Choisuel. Something else that we want to work towards is the reintroduction of what we call the auxiliary sports. Traditional sports like cricket and football, like I said, are okay. So we are going to look towards reintroducing or redeveloping volleyball, tennis, table tennis, boxing, cycling, because I think we have the human resource. Although our facilities are not top notch, but we can work with what we have, like Ms.Anika was saying before me. And yes, we are going to work towards that. Also, I think we should continue with the road safety project. And like I said, although it's something that's perhaps not traditional because persons don't see the link between road safety and youth, I think we have started something very good and that we should really continue. There is funding available, and we look towards tapping into that funding to continue the work that we have started where road safety, youth and road safety is concerned.
Quite a bit, people.
And I could go on and on and on.
Quite a bit. Okay, we have a WhatsApp message coming in. As a council, what are some of the measures taken to help keep young people from trouble?
That is a very loaded question because young persons are almost synonymous with trouble.
The young persons are very curious.
Yes, like I said, young persons are almost synonymous with trouble. Our programs are expected to be very, very attractive to young persons, and that is one of the measures that we intend to use to keep them away from trouble. We are very much aware of the challenges that young people face, and although sometimes we cannot always help everybody, but our goal is to try to help as many young persons as possible. So our programs, like I said, should be one of the measures that we use to sporting and non-sporting. When I say programs, both sporting and non-sporting.
I have always had a concern about Choiseul Youth and the Sports Council. Does that really mean that the emphasis has to be placed on the youth? Because to me, the sports aspect of it, doesn't that mean that other persons in the community should be included in the sporting activities?
When you say other persons, you're talking about persons who are not considered youth.
Past that youth first stage.
Okay, according to literature that is specific to St. Lucia, youth are persons between the ages of 10 to 35. Now, if you ask me, that is quite a large range. But no, the Youth and Sports Council is not going to reject persons who are over 35. We are very open council, and we recognize the contributions of everybody. Persons have experience, and we want to respect that they can impact youth positively. So no, we don't. And we don't want anybody to feel that because you're over 35 that you're no longer youth or you cannot contribute to the Youth and Sports Council. In fact, we will welcome your suggestions, your ideas, your input, and your skills.
I also know that the first is towards clubs and club structure. Can you give us an idea as to how many clubs we have in Choisel, or maybe how many teams we have in Choisel?
Okay, I don't have exact figures, but coming out of last executive, we have about 13, not clubs, but we have about 13 teams. 13 teams, including we count the Girl Guides, the Choisel Girl Guides Association as part of the Choisel Youth and Sports Council, as well as the Scouts. But in terms of structured clubs, we have very, very, very few of those. So you see what happens when a football competition is announced. You have, for example, a team. They just put together a group of young men, and they show up at the football pitch, and they want to play football. But if you have a structured team, you have your list of people in the community. You know that when it's cricket time, these are my cricketers. You know that when it's footballers are, you know where to find the footballers. When the Choisel Youth and Sports Council organizes a debate competition, you know that the debaters will come from that particular group of people. But this is not how it is at the present moment. We understand that, and we are working towards getting proper structures in place.
I want you to make it very clear to the listeners out there. You're not against teams. As the president of the Choisel Youth and Sports Council,
not at all. Not at all.
That is more organization that you're looking for.
Right. And the ministry has requested that. The ministry has requested the clubs, and this is why I am stressing so heavily on it.
Is that going to affect, I noticed that, yes, you're saying that the ministry has requested clubs. Is that going to affect the kind of support that clubs receive from the ministry if they stay with the teams that they have?
Not necessarily. I guess that persons, for example, if a community decides that they only want to participate in football, and they have a football team, I guess that is accepted.
And before we go any further, earlier on you said that, and I was very happy. Again, I'm really for the youth. I am passionate about anything that has to do with the youth. You said that you went out there and you spoke to the youth. You wanted to hear exactly what their concerns were. What really came out of your discussions with young people? What were the things really affecting them?
Okay, as is with everything else, the youth feel that, nobody really cares about me. So they're approached when it's convenient for certain people. Alright? And they want to feel that their opinions matter. They want us to show a genuine interest or passion for what it is that is affecting them. And like I said, the economic situation is not the best, but we have to admit that our youth are affected by socio-economic and political issues, such as unemployment is one of them. And if a young person, understandably so, cannot really take care of his or her needs, then there's no reason for him to want to volunteer and not be compensated for that. Okay, so that is one of the main issues that they would always cite. And as a young person myself, I can relate to that. Sometimes young persons feel that persons who are in leadership positions, they they want to get into leadership roles because of the personal gains, and that once they get there, they forget about the young people. So there seems to be that disconnect, that distrust. Now, once you see that begins to manifest, you're going to have a breakdown, or you're going to begin to lose the support of the youth. In addition to that, I think sometimes the young people, they're just not interested in certain things anymore. Their interests have turned elsewhere, and it is our role now to go and find out more of what it is and to bring them back. I know technology is a big thing now, and every young person is into technology, so we can use that to reach them and to be impactful.
Okay, we have a WhatsApp message coming in. Someone's asking, how often does the council meet?
Okay, the council will meet every week at a stipulated location and day.
Okay. Now, listeners, we've had a very, very long talk here with Ms. Jenny, President of Social Youth and Sports Council, and also Ms.Anika, President of Mongouge Development Committee. Now, Ms. Jenny, while here, any last words for the public?
Yes. I want to thank you for bringing me on this evening, because I felt that Choiseulians needed to know of the Choiseul Youth and Sports Council, and that we are very visible and an open council. I want to say to young people that your circumstances should not define you. I know I'm sounding very cliched here, but once you believe that, you will begin to see that, yes, you are in charge of your life. The Choiseul Youth and Sports Council invites all young people, youth in Choiseul, who are not necessarily affiliated to a particular club. Unattached youth, we call them, young professionals, anybody who feels that they have something to offer. We welcome you. Volunteering is a very, very rewarding thing. And I remember reading a quote on Facebook some time ago, which says that volunteers are not paid, not because they are not worthy, not because they are worthless, but because they are priceless. Yes, I understand that you may want to be compensated, but in the long run, it's your personal development that will help you to weather the storms of your life, and not necessarily money. Thank you.
Wow. Very, very interesting quote, listeners. And we have Brad here saying he just wants to wish Jenny and the new executive all the best. So, now, Ms. Ja, your last words.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hadel and Tanya, for inviting me on tonight's Youth on the Rise. I would like to invite our listeners to come out on Sunday in your large numbers. Come out to support us. It will be a fun day. You shouldn't miss it. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Live 95.1 FM. They've always been on board with us, always giving us the best package ever. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing everybody at the Mongouge Court on Sunday from 9 a.m. It will end at 8 p.m. It's an entire day of activities. Come out, have some fun. Thank you.
Okay, listeners, you've had a very interesting show today. Now, we can be reached at you can be reached on Facebook, so please check out our page. And also for those people who have missed or who will miss this show and others, we are also on YouTube as well, so check us out. The name of our channel is Youth on the Rise. Give us some support, give us a like, subscribe. So listeners, look out for next week's show, and also we look forward to hearing how you can make us better. We look forward to hearing how you can improve yourselves. We look forward to hearing how we can always contribute to one another. Okay? So please, good evening. See you everybody.